Let's be honest, some golf rules seem totally nuts. Why do you have to drop from knee height? Why can't you fix a spike mark? Well, you can now. And what's the deal with stroke and distance for lost balls? In this video, I'm breaking down the golf rules that make no sense until you understand the logic behind them. We'll look at the weirdest, most confusing rules in the game, and I'll show you why they actually exist. By the end, you'll see that even the strangest rules have a reason, even if they still drive you crazy. 1. Stroke and distance for lost ball or out of bounds. Why it makes no sense. You hit a ball into the woods, can't find it, and now you have to walk all the way back to where you last played, add a penalty stroke, and hit again. Why not just drop a ball where it was lost and keep moving? The reason. Golf is built on the idea that every shot counts, and the course should be played as designed. Stroke and distance is meant to keep players from gaining an advantage by dropping closer to the hole. It also discourages wild shots and rewards accuracy. Modern twist. Many courses now use a local rule, Local Rule E5, that lets you drop near where the ball was lost or went ob for a 2-stroke penalty, speeding up play for casual rounds. 2. Dropping from knee height. Why it makes no sense? For decades, golfers dropped from shoulder height. Now, you have to drop from knee height. Why the change? The reason. Dropping from knee height keeps the ball from bouncing and rolling too far, making it more likely to stay in the relief area. It's about fairness and consistency. No more chasing your ball 20 yards down a slope after a drop. Bonus. It also makes it easier to control the drop, especially on sloped or firm ground. 3. Can't ground your club in a bunker. Why it makes no sense. You can ground your club everywhere else, but not in a bunker. Why is sand so special? The reason. Bunkers are hazards, meant to be a penalty for a bad shot. Not grounding your club preserves the challenge and prevents players from testing the sand or improving their lie. It's about keeping bunkers as true hazards, not just another patch of ground. Modern update. You can now remove loose impediments and touch the sand incidentally, but you still can't ground your club right in front of or behind the ball, or during a practice swing. 4. Playing the ball as it lies, even in a divot. Why it makes no sense. You hit a perfect drive, but your ball lands in a divot in the fairway. You can't move it. You have to play it as it lies. Seems unfair, right? The reason. Golf is a game of integrity and randomness. Playing the ball as it lies means everyone faces the same challenges, good or bad. It rewards adaptability and creativity, not just perfect shots. Why it stays. If you could move your ball from a divot, where would you draw the line? The rule keeps things simple and consistent. 5. The flagstick rule. Why it makes no sense. For decades, hitting the flagstick with a putt from the green was a penalty. Now, you can leave it in with no penalty. Why the flip-flop? The reason. Originally, the rule was about fairness. If the flagstick was left in, it could unfairly help a fast-moving putt. But with modern greens and pace of play concerns, the rule changed. Now, leaving the flagstick in speeds up play and doesn't provide a real advantage. Fun fact. Some pros believe leaving the flagstick in helps, others think it hurts. The science is still out, but the rule is here to stay. 6. The one-ball rule. Why it makes no sense. Why can't you switch balls every hole, or even every shot if you want? The reason. The one-ball rule for most pro events requires you to use the same make and model of ball throughout the round. This prevents players from using a soft ball for short shots and a hard ball for long drives, which would give an unfair advantage. Why it stays. It keeps the game fair and equipment consistent for everyone. 7. No advice allowed. Why it makes no sense. You can't ask your buddy what club he hit, but you can ask how far it is to the pin. Why the difference? The reason. Golf is a test of individual skill and decision-making. Asking for advice about club selection or strategy is considered gaining an unfair advantage. Distance is public information, but club choice is personal. Why it stays. It keeps the competition about your own choices, not just copying someone else. 8. Repairing the green, but not everything. Why it makes no sense. You can fix ball marks and spike marks, but you can't smooth out natural imperfections or create a perfect path to the hole. The reason. The rule allows you to repair damage, but not to improve the green beyond its natural state. It's about balancing fairness with preserving the challenge, not making a mini-golf. Modern update. Since 2019, you can repair almost any damage, but you still can't press down undamaged areas to create a better line. 9. The embedded ball rule. Why it makes no sense. You get free relief for a ball embedded in its own pitch mark in the general area, but not in a bunker or penalty area. Why the difference? The reason. The rule is about fairness. If your ball plugs in the fairway or rough, you shouldn't be penalized for a well-struck shot. But bunkers and penalty areas are hazards, so the challenge remains. Why it stays. It rewards good shots and keeps hazards as true tests. 10. Stroke play versus match play penalties. Why it makes no sense. The same mistake can be a 2-stroke penalty in stroke play, but just loss of hole in match play. Why the difference? The reason. Stroke play is about total score, so penalties add up. Match play is head-to-head, so the penalty is losing the hole. The rules are designed to fit the format and keep the competition fair. Why it stays? It keeps both formats balanced and prevents one mistake from ruining an entire match. 11. The provisional ball rule. Why it makes no sense. You have to announce you're hitting a provisional ball, or else your second ball becomes the ball in play. Why so picky? The reason. This rule prevents confusion and cheating. If you just hit another ball without saying anything, you could claim either ball as your original. Announcing a provisional keeps everyone honest. Why it stays? It's about clarity and integrity, 2 things golf takes seriously. 12. The nearest point of relief rule. Why it makes no sense. When taking relief from a cart path or obstruction, you have to find the nearest point of complete relief, even if it puts you in a worse spot. Why not just drop where it's easiest? The reason. The rule is about fairness. Relief is meant to get you away from the obstruction, not to give you a better shot. Sometimes, the nearest point is in the rough or behind a tree. That's just golf. Why it stays? It prevents players from using relief to gain an unfair advantage. Mid-video call to action. If you're starting to see the logic behind these weird golf rules, hit that subscribe button right now and tap the bell icon so you don't miss future videos that break down golf's most confusing topics in plain English. I'm here to help you play better golf and actually enjoy the game, not just stress about the rules. Drop a comment below telling me which rule you always thought was crazy. I read every comment and want to hear your take. Now, let's wrap up with a few more rules that seem odd but actually make sense. 13. The ball at rest moved rule. Why it makes no sense. If your ball moves after you address it, sometimes it's a penalty, sometimes it's not. Why the inconsistency? The reason. The rule changed in 2017. Now, if you didn't cause the ball to move, there's no penalty. If you did, you add a stroke. It's about fairness. Don't penalize players for wind or gravity. Why it stays? It's a balance between responsibility and fairness. 14. The 1 club length drop rule. Why it makes no sense. Why do you get 1 or 2 club lengths for relief instead of a set distance? The reason. Using club lengths makes the rule easy to apply for everyone, regardless of skill or equipment. It's a simple, universal measurement. Why it stays. It keeps the game consistent and easy to enforce. 15. The no practice swings in bunkers rule. Why it makes no sense. You can take practice swings anywhere else, but not in a bunker. Why? The reason. Practice swings that touch the sand could test its condition, giving you an advantage. The rule keeps bunkers as true hazards. Why it stays. It preserves the challenge and integrity of the game. 16. The no advice rule. Why it makes no sense. You can't ask your buddy what club he hit, but you can ask for the distance. Why the difference? The reason. Advice about club selection or strategy is personal and can give you an edge. Distance is public information. Why it stays? It keeps the competition about your own decisions, not just copying someone else. 17. The flagstick rule. Why it makes no sense. For years, hitting the flagstick with a putt from the green was a penalty. Now, you can leave it in. Why the change? The reason. The rule changed to speed up play and because modern testing showed no real advantage to leaving the flagstick in. Why it stays? It's about pace of play and making the game more enjoyable. Golf's rules can seem bizarre, but they're all about fairness, integrity, and keeping the game a true test of skill. The next time you run into a rule that makes no sense, remember, there's probably a good reason behind it, even if it's not obvious at first. Conclusion. So there you have it, golf rules that make no sense, until you understand why. From stroke and distance to knee-height drops, these rules are designed to keep the game fair, challenging, and honest. The next time you're scratching your head over a weird rule, remember, golf's quirks are part of what makes it great. Hit that like button if you love learning the why behind the game, and I'll see you on the course.